Only in Kentucky can a single county claim an execution of Confederate recruiters, a geneticist who fundamentally altered our understanding of human DNA, and an entire tiny town built completely from scratch by one man. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm learning a little bit more about Kentucky, one county at a time, all 120 of them. And today, I'm learning about Pendleton County. This county sits in the Outer Bluegrass region, carved up by the Licking River and its South Fork. These rivers cut valleys 200 feet deep through limestone hills. Population of the county today is around 14,600. People have been here a long time. A 19th century naturalist documented burial mounds near the river forks, and early settlers found the remains of circular earthwork on the high ground between the two rivers. 4 openings aligned almost perfectly with the compass points. Obviously, nobody built that by accident. In 1780, a British commander named Colonel Henry Byrd moved 600 soldiers and indigenous warriors up the Licking River Valley using the water to haul artillery south towards pioneer settlements. But after the Revolution, Virginia settlers came down the Ohio. A man named John Waller laid out a town at the river forks in 1793 and called it Falmouth, after his hometown back in Virginia. Kentucky made things official in 1798, naming the county after Edmund Pendleton, a Virginia statesman. 2 early buildings from this era still stand. A builder named Abraham Vastine quarried limestone on site in 1811 to construct a home with 2-foot thick walls and a roof held together entirely by wooden pegs. And then there's a smokehouse from the mid-1800s built of the same stone, sitting at the exact spot where the North Fork of the Licking meets the main branch. In 1845, a woman named Charity Southgate gained her freedom from slavery. She immediately bought a lot in Falmouth and built a home, then kept building. Actually built several more homes, several more buildings on the same block for her children and eventual grandchildren. One of those homes still stands. When the Civil War came, Pendleton County didn't see major battles, but what it got was neighbor turning on neighbor. The Union set up a recruiting camp in Falmouth in 1861, and federal authorities arrested women in DeMossville on suspicion of being Confederate spies. In 1862, 28 Confederates and 11 Home Guardsmen traded fire in the streets of Falmouth. When the Union captured 2 Confederate recruiters operating in the northern part of the county, they didn't take prisoners. They executed them. After the war, farms were deep in debt and cut off from markets, but the county had already bonded $50,000 to fund the Kentucky Central Railroad. And those tracks to Cincinnati and Lexington pulled the economy back up. By 1875, land values had climbed past $2 million. Sheep did a lot of that work. The limestone hills were ideal grazing land, and Falmouth eventually operated a large wool processing mill that anchored the local market. That history gets honored every October at the Kentucky Wool Festival, held on the grounds adjacent to Kincaid Lake State Park. Attendees watch the entire process unfold live. Raw fleece sheared off the animal, spun into yarn, and woven into fabric, all in front of them over the course of a weekend. There's a self-guided farm tour every summer where you can drive the back roads and stop at working operations. Scottish Highland cattle at one farm, raw milk and pasture-raised meat at another, and a winery making wine from local grapes and blackberries. Every July, the Balloons and Tunes Festival puts hot air balloons over the county while bands play into the night, with tethered rides available to the public. Kincaid Lake State Park covers 850 acres and holds one of the top 5 lakes in Kentucky for trophy largemouth bass, with over 150 campsites and quiet coves for paddling. The adjacent Licking River offers miles of water for longer kayak and canoe trips. And the Kincaid Regional Theater has been staging community productions at the state park since 1983. The county never had coal or iron, but it did have limestone. Since 1967, a plant in Butler has been quarrying and processing it, and it's still the county's largest manufacturer. A facility in Falmouth makes commercial weight training equipment used in gyms worldwide, and then there's a rendering plant in Butler that adds more industrial work. The rivers that built this place have also repeatedly punished it. In 1964, the Licking crested at 47 feet, 19 feet above flood stage, and put most of Falmouth underwater. 4 years later, an F4 tornado killed 4 people and leveled homes across town. Then on March 2nd, 1997, after days of rain, the river reached 52 feet. 80% of Falmouth went under. 5 people died, over 600 homes were directly affected, and the downtown took years to recover. Just south of Falmouth, there's a place called Punkyville. One man named Charles Beckett, who went by Punky, started building it in 2003 as a personal project, and never really stopped. He built a dentist's office, a bank, a church, then a jail, then got a full-size railroad caboose and converted it into a museum. He filled every building with antiques, farm equipment, Coke collectibles, and Elvis memorabilia. Beckett has since passed away, but his family keeps the whole thing open to the public free of charge on the honor system. You can just pull up and walk around. The county's produced some people worth knowing about. Samuel Thomas Hauser left Pendleton County and eventually became the first resident territorial governor of Montana. John Merritt grew up here and went on to become one of the winningest coaches in college football history, building programs at both Jackson State and Tennessee State. Dante Allen won Kentucky Mr. Basketball in 2019. Nate Jones from Butler pitched in the major leagues for over a decade. And then there's Beth Broderick, who played Aunt Zelda on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then there's Philip Allen Sharp. He was born in Falmouth, won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1993, and his work fundamentally changed how scientists understand gene structure. Prior to his research in 1977, biologists believed that genes were continuous, unbroken stretches of DNA that served as a direct template for producing proteins. Sharp dismantled this assumption by discovering the phenomenon of split genes and RNA splicing. He revealed that in higher organisms, genetic sequences are discontinuous. The segments that actively code for proteins, known as exons, are interrupted by long stretches of non-coding DNA called introns. When a cell reads its DNA, it produces a raw copy of the gene and then physically edits it, cutting out the non-coding introns and splicing the functional exons together to form mature messenger RNA. Fully admit, I have no idea what I just said. But this breakthrough redefined molecular biology by proving that a single DNA sequence could be spliced in varying combinations to create multiple different proteins, explaining a primary mechanism behind both biological evolution and the development of complex genetic diseases. Anyway, the middle school in the county is named after him. So, that's Pendleton County. What'd I get wrong this time?